being the day that a lot of people celebrate love, you might be planning something special for you and your sweetie.
Or if the day, snuck up on you, you might be still trying to figure out tonight's plans. Don't worry though, Cincy Lifestyle reporter Mikhayla Hughes-Shaw called on her friends at Baker Hunt. They're gonna help us out with a last minute but very tasty recipe that is even easy to make. Take a look.
With Valentine's Day, it's important to have some options to celebrate the holiday. One of those ways could be making a beautiful meal at home.
Absolutely.
Yes, and Chef Alex is going to help us do just that. What are we going to be cooking today?
We're going to cook a classic steakhouse favorite, surf and turf. So we've got a 4-ounce beef tenderloin filet, which is a lovely cut of meat, and we're also going to do some shrimp with that, and then we'll do a nice garnish as well. It's all super easy, one pot, and yeah, it's just a fun way to have a nice Valentine's dinner date.
Okay, so say if somebody's not an expert chef like yourself, can they achieve this meal? I'm asking for myself specifically.
Oh. Yes, absolutely. So you just need the right tools. So steak cookery can be intimidating, especially if you've watched on TV shows where they poke it and they know everything, right? So just use the thermometer, right? So you can tell just with a thermometer, and there's a temperature range that will tell you what temperature to shoot for depending on how you like your steak. So yeah, it makes it super easy. Sometimes this dish comes across as a little heavy. So this is a little bit of a lighter version. We're gonna have some lemon and some fresh garlic and parsley in it as well to kind of brighten it up.
Okay, well, it smells incredible. I'm excited to see how this all comes together.
Me too.
Not you too.
All right, so we're gonna do some surf and turf for date night tonight for Valentine's. I've got a 4-ounce beef tenderloin filet. You can get these pre-butchered from a local butcher shop, and I've just tied it up with a little bit of kitchen string. I salt my meat for searing at least 10 to 15 minutes in advance of cooking it. What that does is it helps to draw out some of the moisture, which is laden with sugar and some other proteins from the meat, and that helps to get a really nice crust. I skip the pepper until after the steak is cooked though, because pepper can burn. We've also got some shrimp that we're gonna work with. Those are just thawed out, totally peeled off, because nobody likes to stick their fingers in food when they're trying to have a date. And then we'll sear those up after we cook our steak, and then some other simple things like butter, lemon, shallots and garlic, salt and pepper makes this a really nice, easy dish. All right, so we are gonna use tongs to put our steak in the pan. One thing that I like to do is just to test the pan with the corner of my steak, just to see. If you don't hear that sizzle, the pan's not ready. All right, so set it down, let it wiggle. I'm using a big pan for a couple of reasons. One is we want all of that moisture to evaporate out. Another reason is when I flip the steak over, I'm gonna move it to a new part of the pan so that we get a lot of heat on the other side as well. All right, so check back in like 2 minutes and we'll flip this steak over. It's been about 2 minutes. We have a lovely golden brown crust on the bottom of our steak. This could be the service side, meaning it's the side that goes up. I'm gonna flip this over to a new part of my pan, give it a shake, make sure it's not stuck, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit of butter, right? Just a little bit. It's about 4 tablespoons, so not quite a little bit. And then I'm gonna also add this, which is called a bouquet garni. This is a bundle of parsley stems, a sprig of thyme, and some rosemary. And, oh, what the heck, let's throw a couple of garlic cloves in there too. All right, what we're doing is we're kind of making like a flavorful butter to baste our steak with. All right, so while our steak is finishing up in the oven, let's go ahead and season up our shrimp. I've just thawed these out and dried them on some paper toweling, and I am wearing gloves because, you know, raw meats especially can be on the dangerous side. So let me get rid of my plate, and I'm also gonna get rid of my gloves because I did touch raw stuff with my gloves. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of kosher salt on, just a tiny bit of pepper. We're not gonna cook this long enough to really burn that pepper. And I like just a sprinkling of paprika, and that just helps with developing a nice golden color on our shrimp. All right, so I promised a one-pan dish, so once our steak comes out, we're gonna use the same pan to cook our shrimp in. Our steak came out of the oven. We're at a nice rare, rare to medium rare, and I wanted you to take a look at that. We've got a nice golden brown on the bottom as well. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna give our steak a chance to rest. I like to set that bouquet garni on top and just kind of dump my butter all over that steak. And we'll let that kind of marinate for a little bit. I'm gonna add in our shrimp. And again, you wanna hear that sizzle. And a trick with shrimp is if it stays in a C shape, it is cooked. And if it makes an O, it is overcooked. I'm gonna get just the tiniest bit of oil. That was maybe like a half a teaspoon of oil. And we're gonna get some garlic and shallot, tiny pinch of salt, tiny pinch of salt. We've got our steak that we let rest, and I did tie a string around it, and floss is not part of a date night, well, maybe before. And I'm gonna plate my steak down on the plate first. I'm gonna put a couple of shrimp on top. Parsley, fresh garlic, and lemon zest. And then finally, once you get your meal plated, you want to wipe off the rim of your plate. All right, and you just tidy up as best you can. And then I would serve this with some kind of roasted potato, a nice little side salad, and a glass of wine.